Good morning, Spurs fans all around the world. And after a 2-week hiatus, after an exhilarating international break, especially if you're a Republic of Ireland supporter, Tottenham Hotspur are finally back in Premier League action. And what a way to return. The biggest game of the season, a trip into enemy territory, away at the Emirates in the North London derby to take on arch rivals Arsenal, aka Woolwich Wanderers. At the time of this recording, we currently head into this game sitting 5th in the Premier League, 8 points behind Arsenal, who do sit top of the Premier League, 4 points clear of Man City, and any type of result here for Tottenham Hotspur could very well derail the filth season. This is Thomas Frank's first competitive North London derby, and this is a huge test for Thomas Frank today. A, tactically to see how he stacks up against one of the best teams in the league, but also B, a test of his temperament to see how he handles the intensity of a fixture that has the capability of defining a season. Make no mistake about it, we are up against it today. Historically, the Emirates has not been a happy hunting ground for Spurs in recent years. Just one win in our last 32 league visits to the Emirates shows the magnitude of the task today. However, Spurs should take encouragement from boasting the best away record in the league. It's absolutely outstanding. 13 points from the 15 available, which shows we have shown resilience at tough venues, and that's what gives us a chance today. Also combined with Thomas Frank giving us some good news on the injury front, confirming that Papamatta Sarr, Lucas Bergvall, Colin Mawani and Mohamed Kudus all trained today and are available for selection for the North London derby. Dominic Solanke not quite ready yet. Radu Dragusin just needs more minutes in his legs. Ben Davies, Kota Takai and Archie Gray have also returned to training as well, but this game has come too soon for them, so he does have a lot of decisions to make. So with that in mind, here is my predicted 11 that Thomas Frank will go with against Arsenal. Starting in goals, and it will be undisputed, number 1, Guglielmo Vicario. Now, Vicario is going to be under the spotlight from the very first whistle. Arsenal usually throw everything at us away at the Emirates, especially in the first 20 to 30 minutes, and will likely be on the back foot today from the very off. So we will need Vicario to stay calm, focused and ready to make crucial saves to keep Spurs in the game. The main concern, however, set pieces. Arsenal are the Premier League's most dangerous team from corners and dead ball situations, and based on Vicario's time at the club, this is the area where he is most vulnerable, which means Arsenal will likely exploit this, knowing that Vicario has struggled in these exact scenarios. Physically, he can be out-muscled in crowded situations. They often target the 6-yard box with their deliveries, and Vicario can be hesitant to come off his line, preferring to stay on his line. However, in this game, Vicario must come off his line and try and claim balls or punch balls away that come in beyond the near post. If they do come at the near post, fine, he stays on his line. Anywhere beyond that though, he must come out and try to punch that ball or catch it clear, or we end up risk conceding from a set piece situation. Because of Vicario's weakness around set pieces, the Spurs defence will have to be extremely alert and organised, offer him protection from set pieces, and just leave Vicario to be able to focus on shot stopping during open play. If Vicario can rise to the challenge today, he could be the difference maker in a tight North London derby. At left back, Thomas Frank has a decision to make between Jedi Spence and also Destiny Udogie, who Frank has rotated with all season long, and the selection in my opinion should first and foremost be made on who can help deal with the threat of Bukayo Saka the best, who has had a massive impact on North London derby since his emergence. 3 goals and 4 assists in his 10 North London derby appearances, and in this forward line, he's the player that carries the most threat from open play. Now, you could argue with Jed Spence being right-footed, it does give him an advantage defending against Saka when he looks to cut in onto his left foot. However, Destiny Udogie, in my opinion, has more than enough pace and physicality to be able to deal with Saka's 1v1 threat and nullify him. But just as important as defending is, we're also going to need to be able to progress the ball and to be able to get up the pitch, to be able to relieve some pressure early on. And in my opinion, Tottenham are so much better when Udogie plays at left back compared to when Jed Spence plays at left back, and the reason being is with Jed Spence being right footed, when in possession, he's constantly looking to pass that ball inside into the midfield. And you would argue he will be passing into Arsenal's biggest danger into that midfield. They're so physical, and when they turn that ball over, they have enough creativity to be able to punish you. And in my opinion, we need to be able to avoid that. In this game, we have to be able to use the wings to be able to go forward and to be able to get out and relieve some pressure. So with Destiny Udogie being naturally left-footed, means he can either carry that ball or hit that ball down the channel first time and help us get out and relieve some pressure, but also help us transition the ball into attacking phases. So with Udogie being able to drive from left back, it does give us genuinely width down this left-hand side, which the right-footed inverted Jed Spence does not give us. Udogie, in my opinion, has also earned the start with his recent displays against Copenhagen and Manchester United off the bench. Moving into right back, and Frank faces a genuine decision to make here today, and it's one that could swing the fate of the North London derby. Does he go with Pedro Porro or does he go with Jed Spence? So let's start with the case for Pedro Porro. Now, Frank has relied on him heavily this season. He has started every single game bar one. However, I would make the point he did look leggy against Manchester United and could use a breather. Now, Porro's creativity is a major asset. He's also created 13 chances this season, the second most in the squad. His passing range and crossing ability for Spurs help Spurs progress the ball and unlock defences. So if you take him out, you are going to miss that. But the problem is defensively, especially against area threats. He is so vulnerable. He was caught out at the back post again against Man United for their first goal, and it is a reoccurring issue. Arsenal are one of the most strongest aerially and physically dominant teams in the league, and this exposes a weakness in Porro's game. Also defensively, Pedro Porro drops off his opponent, constantly calling for help, which then pulls teammates out of position who have to come across and help him, which then creates space for the opposition then to be able to play into, which then sets off the panic alarms, and everyone else then is pulled out of position. And in a high stakes game like this, that panic can be contagious. So for that reason alone, I'd probably be hesitant against starting Pedro Porro. However, Jed Spence's case, Spence is more defensively reliable and comfortable engaging wingers directly, which I think is going to be very important in this game. He can defend the back post and prevent dangerous crosses, a critical requirement against Arsenal's wide threats. And I take the argument that he doesn't have Pedro Porro's crossing ability or passing range. However, his defensive stability is more valuable for us in this fixture, especially in the first half where Spurs are likely to be on the back foot. So, given the early onslaught I am expecting, and to be able to prevent Arsenal from exploiting wide areas and set pieces, it is of my opinion that Jed Spence should start. Porro can be introduced later in the game when Spurs are more settled and can afford to be able to bring him on for his creativity without compromising defensive stability. Bottom line, starting Porro, I think, risks immediate pressure, panic and space being created for Arsenal's attacker, where Spence offers reliability, solidity and the ability to be able to keep Spurs compact, and that's exactly what is needed from the outset at the Emirates. Moving into right-sided centre-back, and Romero will come under close scrutiny in this game, particularly on set pieces. We saw under Ange Postecoglou that he did switch off for a set piece, which did cost us that North London derby, a 1-0 defeat, and as captain he must stay alert, mark his man tightly and lead by example throughout the match, and make sure that lapse in concentration does not happen again in this game. I would also like to see Romero be a lot more vocal at defensive set pieces, especially in this game, taking full responsibility to ensure the organisation drilled into us during the week is being executed on the pitch. It's in my opinion that he needs to make sure everyone is in position and marking their assigned players, and he must take responsibility for that as captain. And the reason why Romero must take responsibility for this is because he is club captain, and that comes along with the captain duties. Also, if Pedro Porro doesn't start at right back, Romero's passing range will be absolutely crucial. He does have the ability to be able to bypass Arsenal's midfield, which in my opinion, I don't see much point trying to play through it. I think we should look to stick it long, put it on that back line directly and create immediate danger for Arsenal's defence rather than allow them to get back in shape. So we will be heavily relying on Romero for this if we do take Pedro Porro out of the team. And finally, Romero is only one yellow card away from suspension, but I hope that doesn't make him more cautious in this game. In fact, he needs to double down, go full throttle and set the tone for the team and show Arsenal that Spurs will not be bullied here or intimidated. His aggression, leadership and composure could set the platform from a good performance from the very off. And partnering Romero at centre-back will be Lionel Mickey van de Vendinho. And honestly, you could make a real argument that this centre-back partnership is right up there with the partnership of Gabriel and Saliba that has been rightly placed, if not better. Van de Ven has been an absolute colossus for us this season. Defensively, he's become far more aggressive as a player, but also a lot more stronger in the air, and he's dominating duels in a way we didn't perhaps see last season. And we're going to need every bit of that aggression here today, potentially up against Gyökeres. But what doesn't get talked enough about when it comes to Mickey van de Ven is his reading of the game, his ability to be able to anticipate danger, step in at the right moment and make crucial blocks. He has saved our ass multiple times this season and last season doing that. And in a fixture where fine margins decide absolutely everything, that awareness is going to be absolutely vital. And let's not forget, guys, he is also Tottenham's top scorer this season. And a derby that could easily be settled by a set piece or a chaotic moment in the box from a long throw, Van de Ven is exactly the type of player who can pop up and nick us a goal. Strong, intelligent, in form and a threat at both ends, Van de Ven is an automatic pick for a game of this magnitude. Moving into midfield, and it will be a double pivot of João Paulinho and Rodrigo Bentancur. With this being an away clash at the Emirates, Thomas Frank will want real control and stability in this midfield, and that's why Bentancur should play with Paulinho as a double pivot. It's my opinion this is the most solid and balanced pairing we have. And starting with João Paulinho, and this one really excites me because this game is going to be brutal in the midfield. It is going to be a physical battle. Rice, Zubimendi, potentially Odegaard, and it's the exact type of encounter where Paulinho's physical presence and defensive acumen become so invaluable. We've often gone away to the Emirates in previous years looking lightweight in midfield, but with Paulinho we finally have that towering disruptive presence in there that we haven't really had since the days of Victor Wanyama or Moussa Dembele, and his profile and the type of player he is could genuinely make a difference for us today. Arsenal's midfield is absolutely excellent in possession, so Paulinho's main job will be to break up their rhythm, disrupt their combinations and stop them from playing through the thirds comfortably. If João Paulinho can unsettle them, force mistakes, win second balls and slow their tempo, it gives us a real platform then to be able to compete and potentially take something from this match. But like Mickey van de Ven, it's not just the defensive side that João Paulinho is getting praised for. He has chipped in with goals this season, scoring 4, and he's already shown that he carries a threat from set pieces and also when arriving in and around the box. Overall, this kind of high intensity away fixture is absolutely tailor-made for Paulinho to thrive in. If he delivers a big performance here, it transforms our chances at the Emirates today. Now, when it comes to Rodrigo Bentancur, we are going to need a huge performance from him today. In possession, he has to be able to move that ball quickly and decisively, especially as I do think we are going to play counter-attacking football here. His composure and ability to be able to play through the lines are going to be crucial in turning defensive moments into attacking scenarios. Now, out of possession, his defensive awareness needs to be spot on. There has been moments this season where players cutting in from their right, which is our left hand side, have been able to get shots off far too easy. You go back against Aston Villa and there's been other games as well, and Bentancur hasn't always reacted in time to close down that danger. In fact, a lot of times he doesn't even sense the danger or get out there, and with Saka constantly looking to cut in on his left foot and cause Tottenham problem, Bentancur has to be able to anticipate this, get out, shut down that space early, engage Saka and prevent him from getting those shooting angles. If we can neutralise Saka today between Bentancur and Destiny Udogie, it will go a long way to keeping Arsenal quiet from open play at least. Also, on top of that, with this double pivot, Arsenal midfielders Rice, Zubimendi and Odegaard are more than willing and able to shoot from distance. If this space opens up, it's absolutely vital that Rodrigo Bentancur and Paulinho don't just end up sitting in too deep on top of the centre backs. They actually need to step out aggressively, engage them, block the shot, shots and prevent Arsenal from picking their moments around the edge of the box. Now, moving into the camp, and I do have real concerns about starting Xavi Simmonds in this game. He is still adjusting to the pace, the power and the intensity of the Premier League, and this match at the Emirates will have all of that in abundance. In a high tempo derby like this, there's a genuine concern and risk that Xavi Simmonds, someone of his slight frame and build, gets bullied and swallowed up if he is asked to operate through the middle. Also, his numbers underline the struggle: 14 appearances, no goals, 2 assists and only 1 shot on target. And when your main argument for starting Xavi Simmonds is his creativity and ability to be able to produce a moment of magic, those stats make it hard to justify his inclusion from the first whistle. My fear is that we'll be under pressure from earlier on and we end up carrying him in a game where you can't really afford to carry any passengers. It's of my opinion, I think he'll be far more effective in this game coming off the bench later on when the game opens up and there's more space for him to be able to go and express himself. So I think the alternative, and the one that I think Thomas Frank will go with, is Pape Matar Sarr. Now, I know some fans have questioned and will question me in the comments about around his output in the number 10, as he was given this opportunity to perform here earlier on in the season. But his numbers do speak a little bit better than Xavi Simmonds. 16 games, 2 goals, 2 assists, and I don't know how many pre-assists as well he also has. And importantly, he does carry a threat going forward. He can strike a ball from distance, and we've seen him do that multiple times, including that outrageous pre-season lob against Arsenal in pre-season, a goal that Thomas Frank did call a contender for goal of the season, and it was one that won us this match. And a strike from distance could very well be what wins us or helps us take a point at the Emirates today. So Pape Matar Sarr has that ability in abundance, but more importantly, Sarr brings exactly what you need in a big away derby: energy, ball-winning ability, willing to run, aggression, and most importantly, athleticism to be able to get around the pitch. Out of possession, he gives us that disruptive edge. He's the type of player who can press Rice and Zubimendi, make their lives real uncomfortable and force turnovers higher up the pitch. And we saw him do this countless of times earlier on in the season, but where it was most effective was in the Europa League final when he done it against Man United, turning that ball over in midfield, carrying it forward and having the balls to be able to deliver the cross in the moment as well. And that sort of moment is exactly what we will need today. Moving on to right wing, and Thomas Frank has come out and confirmed that Mohamed Kudus is fit and available for this game, and he should walk straight back into the lineup after missing the Man United game and Copenhagen game through injury. And honestly, if we're going to pull off an upset here today, we're going to need a massive performance from Mo Kudus on this right hand side. Now, I know some people have question marks around Mohamed Kudus and how good he really is. However, he gives us something in this forward line that nobody else does. The ability to be able to back into defenders, hold up that ball under pressure, and also carry that ball up the pitch. And in this game, that matters, because every free kick, every throw-in, every set piece that we can get up in their half gives us a chance to be able to utilise our biggest weapon this season, which is how good we are from set pieces. But not only does he provide that physical presence up front to be able to get us up the pitch, his direct running, unpredictability and flair does often force mistakes from defenders, which then creates space for other players around Mo Kudus. And if he can deliver that final ball, we very well could get a chance or two off the back of it. Now, there is also a narrative floating around about Kudus that he's greedy, but the numbers simply do not support that. He has created more chances than any other player in our squad this season, creating 15 in total, showing maybe he's not as greedy as some make him out to be. So for all those reasons that I have highlighted, Kudus isn't just a logical inclusion from the start, he's absolutely essential if we're going to leave the Emirates with something today. And moving on to left wing, and Wilson Udebur has been in superb form of late, scoring against Copenhagen and providing assist against Man United in his last 2 games. So for me, he absolutely deserves to start this one. His ability to be able to pick up the ball, drive at defenders and commit players is exactly what you want from your winger, but I'd argue that was always there in Wilson Udebur's game. But the big question around him was, when was that attacking intent going to start turning into real productivity? And over the last few games, we're finally seeing a young player coming of age. What also really strengthens his case down this left-hand side to start is the partnership forming with Destiny Udogie down this left-hand side. Out of all the combinations that we've tried there this season, this is easily the most promising and the most productive. And when both wings then can start carrying a genuine threat going forward, rather than us relying heavily on the right-hand side, which is easy to set up against and defend against, it then makes us far more unpredictable and dangerous going forward. Now, granted, Xavi Simons can also operate off the left-hand side. I wouldn't be shocked if Frank went that way, but right now, Udeberg just looks like he is full of confidence, he's playing with swagger, and he's being decisive in the final third. And in a game where we will need a spark of creativity, you have to lean on the players who are in form and brimming with confidence. So for me, Udeberg's confidence, the momentum he's building, his chemistry with Udogie, his growing end product make him the right choice for today's game. And then this brings me on to the guy up front, and in his press conference today, Thomas Frank gave music to Spurs fans' ears as he came out and said that Kolo Muani has trained, is available and will play with a protective mask. And I think it's one that put a smile on many Spurs fans' face today. He is the player that many of us are pinning our hopes on to become that clinical striker that we've been missing for quite some time, and getting him back for a derby game of this magnitude is absolutely huge for belief going into it. Muani brings that all-round game that we simply don't get with any of our other forward line selection. His ability to be able to cause chaos, chase lost causes, turn hopeful balls into 50-50 duels is absolutely invaluable in a high-pressure away game. Out of possession, his work rate is absolutely relentless, and in possession, his technical ability means he can link up play, hold up the ball, but also get turned and drive at defenders. All of that gives that Arsenal backline something to think about every time he is in possession. And also with the main protagonist of this Arsenal team, the enforcer, the most dangerous asset from set pieces, probably the heartbeat of that centre-back partnership, Gabriel, being out, in my opinion, the task becomes clear. If I am a striker, I am not spending the game wrestling with Saliba. In fact, I'm actually peeling onto whoever steps in from the cold to be able to replace Gabriel. That's, in my opinion, where the opportunities will come from, and Muani needs to be smart here and target that matchup to be able to generate the best chances of the game for us. This match also marks the end of an era. It is the first competitive North London derby without either Harry Kane or Heung-min Son since 2014. That means Spurs are looking for a new derby hero today, someone to grab that moment and write their own chapter in North London derbies. The hope is that Kolo Muani can be this man. And there's also something poetic about this too. The last player to wear a mask in a North London derby was Harry Kane, and he delivered that iconic goal along with that iconic celebration. Now it's Muani's turn, the masked man. The script is written, the memes are already waiting. All Muani has to do is press print. So there it is, guys, my predicted 11 for the North London derby. Arsenal will come flying out of the blocks early. They'll throw the kitchen sink at us in that first half hour, and that's exactly why we need defensive stability, work rate, physicality, and just enough attacking threat to hurt them when the moment comes. And I think this lineup gives us this in abundance. Now, I'd also be happy if Frank went with a special operation like he did against PSG in the Super Cup, taking out Wilson Odegaard, bringing in Danzo and switching to a 5-3-2. That setup could absolutely work here today too, and I think it is one that many fans would like to see Frank employ here today. But whoever gets selected, all we're looking for is a performance. You are the lucky 11 chosen to represent us, the fans, the club, the community. You're stepping into a position every Spurs supporter would dream of. So go out there, give everything, and give them hell. Let me know in the comment section below, would you make any changes to this 11, and who's your key player for us against Arsenal today? If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to drop a like, hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bells, and also there's a button called hype now. If you could hype us, that'd be absolutely brilliant as well. Thanks for watching, and as always, I'll see you back here for the pre-match build-up. Most importantly, get the flags out. Get all of your merch out. If you can't wear the cockerel loud and proud on a day like this, then when can you? As always, come on, you Spurs!